Welcome on board. Happy weekend. Please share the broadcast on your timeline. Invite your friends. Welcome on board, Beatrice. If this is the first time you are watching our broadcast, my name is Peace Amewowo, and I'm the founder and CEO of Single with a Life and Married with a Life. So if you are new, you will find a link to our Married with a Life page that you can follow. I'm currently doing a series on that page as well, and it's my journey from courtship to life after honeymoon. It's actually very interesting. The episode 3 and 4 is really focused on singles and how to make the most out of your courtship. Okay, questions to ask, what to do, so that you can enjoy it and get to know more about yourself before you actually say yes to marry the person. Okay, so make sure that you find the links and then follow them. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about abortion. It's this topic is probably one of the most difficult topics that I'll probably talk about, because of the various controversies about abortion and the emotional and mental trauma that so many people have experienced with abortion. So it's a very sensitive topic, and I'm going to try and handle it as sensitively as possible. Yeah. I'm already emotional when I was listening to some of the stories that people were sharing. I said to them, I hope I will not be crying on this page today. So grace. Okay, abortion. Why did I decide to come up with this topic? Okay, so for the past almost 2 months now, since April, we started treating a topic on understanding SWAL, which is Single with a Life. And the reason why I decided to spend so much time to literally teach people or to explain the vision and what I'm hoping that we'll be able to achieve out of the singles that are on, especially our WhatsApp group, is that I realized that most singles, for some time, they'll be very active on the group, and then immediately they start a relationship or they are about to get married, they disappear. Coordinators will call them, are you okay, what's going on? And they will say, I'm about to get married, or I've just started a relationship. And I was thinking, so you started a relationship, so you don't need a vision anymore? You've arrived, you finished learning, and I concluded that the reason why people are doing that is because they don't understand the vision properly. So I decided to commit almost how many months now, just to highlight the key areas of the vision so that people understand why they are there and not disappear because they've started a relationship. And some of the areas of the SWAL vision, apart from purpose discovery, we are looking that you will develop yourself. Okay, and self-development is a very broad area, broad topic, because you have to develop yourself mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, spiritually, socially, morally, and the list goes on. Yeah, so I tried to look at these different areas that people can develop themselves, and I started with developing yourself spiritually. Okay, so we started talking about that. We talked about fasting and prayer, studying the word. We talked about baptism, how to give your life to Christ, things that you can do literally to develop your spiritual life, making sure that you are attending a Bible-believing church, you're getting involved in the activities of the church, making godly friends in the church, and things that will, build you up as a person. And then we came to the point whereby this week, we started dealing with doctrines, some of the doctrines that are in the church which can limit singles. Okay. And it became clear that there are so many singles who are aborting babies because of doctrines of churches. Okay, so I was actually very surprised when somebody voiced out and touched on a particular doctrine and how it's doing more harm than good. But unfortunately, maybe our leaders are not aware. So today I just want to come here and shed more light on that, and then look at the various reasons why singles are aborting babies. Their experience, the pain they've gone through, the effect it had on them, and their message to those of you out there who probably are considering abortion. And one of the things that I did when people started sharing their experience with abortion, those who have had babies and all of that, I decided to create a WhatsApp group for these people. And the WhatsApp group have actually a number of people, different categories of people. So we have people who have shared how they stood against the whole notion of abortion. They became pregnant at an age whereby they knew it's going to affect them, but then they decided that they are still going to have their babies. So we have those people on the group. We have people who couldn't stand the shame, the embarrassment, and they decided that, the best option for me is to abort, and they aborted the babies. We have people also on the group who, even though they wanted to keep their pregnancies, they ended up having a miscarriage. They are also on the group. And then people who have helped their friends to go through abortion. Some have forced their girlfriends to go through abortion. So it's not only ladies who are on the group, there are males on the group as well. And there are some whose parents have also told them that, I almost aborted you because of these reasons and that. And so it's a very emotional topic. I have people also who wish they've been aborted. They wish their parents had aborted them for various reasons. So all these people are on the group. And for me, I felt, let me put them together because there is power in sharing. Sometimes you just want to voice out. Some people have had this, they've done these abortions for years, nobody's aware of it. But this is an opportunity for them to come out and share. And it's amazing seeing people sharing and giving themselves encouragement, encouraging each other. And, it's just some of the stories are heartbreaking. I don't know if you can feel it in my voice. It's like I'm really, really, really struggling, honestly. But we need to do this. We need to treat this topic because these things are happening right under our nose. Especially as parents, you may have no idea what is going on with your child. Okay. And as leaders, you may have somebody who comes and they do everything in the church. You have no idea what they are going through. So we want to, talk about this, and hopefully it will help someone out there who will save a life. Okay. So please, once again, share this broadcast. This is a topic that affects many, many, many people. It's unbelievable. And I want to really thank God for SWAL, and I thank God for all the members who contacted me privately. I was very, very impressed because when I posted a message out, I had to put the whole group on hold. I closed the group from Thursday until, when we had to do the prayer time this morning. And I said, if you know you are pregnant, please get in touch with me. If you've impregnated somebody, get in touch with me. No matter what it is, don't feel somebody's going to judge you or you want to hide and abort. Speak to me first, and then we see what we can do. Okay, so this is where we are. This is where we are, and I just want us to share this broadcast with your friends so that we can get as many people coming on board and get some education on this. So what is abortion? According to the dictionary, abortion is the deliberate termination of a human pregnancy, most often performed during the first 28 weeks of pregnancy. However, I did a few research, and some of the research was saying that most pregnancies are terminated within the first 8 weeks. Okay, so it's happening, and in some of the Western world, even teenagers can walk into the hospital and have abortion without anybody knowing. In some countries whereby abortion is not legal, many people, young people, are using dangerous means to abort babies. And there has been a lot of negative effect on their lives. So we will look at all of these as well. Okay, so there are some people who believe that abortion is fine. They don't see any problem with it. In fact, when we're treating this topic, one of our team groups, somebody posted a banner that they saw. And it was an organization which they had like 3 ladies, photos. And the ladies are saying the best way a woman can take care of herself is to care for herself or something like that. And that basically they are saying that abortion is one of the ways that a woman can take good care of herself. And I saw that, and I said to them, we are changing this in Jesus' name. And people believe that it is okay to have abortion because they believe that life actually begins after conception. When you've actually born the baby, that's when the baby is alive. Once the baby is in the womb, it's just especially the first few weeks, it's just blood, or it's just a fetus, it's just an embryo. So, it's fine to terminate. That is the reason some people have. So they don't see why abortion is murder and it's wrong. Others also believe that scientifically and biblically, abortion is wrong because life begins at conception, not after conception. Okay, and there are so many controversies. There's a video, I've posted a few links on the SWAL Facebook page, some debates, the stages of pregnancy, and there was one of the video that it was saying that actually a fetus, they start having their heartbeat starts, I think, in week 6 or 5, and then it actually shows you the different stages and how the baby develops. And when you look at it, you'll be amazed to think that people actually believe that once the baby is at a particular age, week old in the womb, they are not alive or they can't feel pain. And so you can actually terminate. I don't know why, because the scientific facts are there. Biologically, it is clear that the child has life. Okay, there is life in that baby. There was an audio I listened to some time ago. I've tried to look for it, but I couldn't find it. There was a guy who was sharing abortion stories of how, I think he used to be a doctor and he used to operate, he used to perform these abortions. And he was saying that, you know, the embryonic sac, the one that, you know, surrounds the baby. I mean, when you're about to give birth, they say that when the water breaks, yeah, that kind of thing. And then they were saying how when they want to terminate the abortion, they have to use this sharp object to literally break that embryonic sac and get there, because once the water comes out, then the child is no longer safe for the child to be in the womb. So I don't know, Adam, if I'm saying the right thing. Head coordinator, you're a scientist, so please speak to me. Yeah, I'm also a scientist, but Swala has taken over, so I've forgotten all these things. Anyway, so when the water breaks, then the child is no longer that safe. Okay, and he was saying that sometimes when you look and the way the child behaves, when the embryo or the fetus, the way it behaves when you try to pierce that sac, it's almost like it wants to hide. It's trying to run for safety. I heard a long time ago, and I think probably 2016 or 2017. And I was listening to it. I said, wow. And he was saying that this is the reason why, you know, abortion, because at that stage, even the baby begins to feel that there's harm coming, there's harm, and he's trying to hide. So you can't say that he doesn't feel anything. So because of that, anyway, so I'm not going to go too much into the controversies because we all have our different opinions about that. But as I said, I've shared some videos. The links are there. Listen to them yourself. Go on YouTube, go on Google. Just try and read different stuff to understand some of the things that people are thinking, the way people think, and then try and find scriptures, if you've got any scriptures to back it, why you think, you know, it's fine to terminate the child. Yeah, well, I've got some scriptures. I've just got 2 scriptures here. And the first one is Leviticus 17:11. It says that for the life of a creature is in the blood. The life of a creature is in the blood. And you are a creature. The child is a creature. There's life in the blood. So even at that point whereby it's still a clot, because some people say it's just a clot of blood. At that point that is still a clot of blood, there's still life in that blood. And I won't read the whole of that. It's just that bit that I wanted you to see. And then Jeremiah 1 verse 5. It says that before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Before you were formed. So even before you became that clot of blood or that embryo or fetus or baby, God is saying that he already knew you. And he's already referring to you as a person. Before I formed you, before he even started making you, he already knew you. He already determined your assignment, your purpose, what he wants you to come and do on earth. So it doesn't matter how you got pregnant, you know, because some of the conditions around the pregnancy, in fact, when you hear it, it's very heartbreaking. Because somebody can be raped, they don't even know who raped them, and they still have to carry that child. And, you know, but no matter how the child is coming, God said he already knew that child. Okay, unfortunately, it has to come through that way. The child has to be born that way. You know, there are some people who are saying, I wish my parent aborted me. I wish my mother aborted me. Because they are looking at the conditions around their birth. They are looking at the conditions even in their family right now. And they are thinking, I don't want to belong to this mother. I don't want to belong to this family. You know, but you did not choose your family. You did not choose your mother. God chose your mother. God chose your parents, your family. Okay, you didn't have a choice about it. And so don't take the conditions, don't make the conditions become a hindrance to where God wants to take you. God has a purpose why he created you. Okay, and he knew how you were going to come into the world. Okay, so even if it was through rape that you were born, God still has a purpose for you. Okay, he chose that, you know what, these two people are the people that are best to be able to bring into the world. You may not understand how things are at the moment, but God has a bigger purpose. So encourage yourself knowing that it is not your fault. Whatever decision your parents took, it's not your fault. Okay, you cannot blame yourself. You cannot carry the burden of or the consequences of the decision of your parents. Okay, what you have to do is to focus and say to yourself, it doesn't matter how I came to the world, but it matters how I'm going to make an impact in the world and how I will live. Okay, because you've got a purpose and you must accomplish that purpose. Okay, so those of you who are feeling very, very bad about the way you were born, that's an encouragement to you. I'm going to try and read some of the comments from the group that I created. I'll ask for permission to share some of these things. I'll make sure that I don't mention anybody's name. Okay. You know, it's very easy that we say, maybe as a young person, you want to abort. You've gone out to read. You've heard people's stories on the internet. Some people are saying it's okay to abort. Okay, others are saying it's not okay. And you are probably confused. Now, I've got examples for you. I've got real life people for you who are sharing how they feel about abortion. Some of them, these people have done it themselves. Okay, some of them almost did it. Some, their parents almost aborted them. And it's good for you to hear their story. Even males who helped to abort pregnancies, who gave their girlfriends money, go and buy this drug and terminate it. You know, they are sharing the experience, how they feel about the whole thing. And it's good that you hear from their mouth so that from there, you can make your decision. I'm not going to tell you whether it's wrong, it's not wrong. It is up to you to be able to decide after you've listened. You've listened to some of these stories, okay? I'm going to use my laptop. I don't know how easy I'm going to be able to do this, but I'll try. I think I've got some. Okay, so the head coordinator, Jacob Zonu, he said the embryonic sac cushions the baby. That is what supports the baby from shock. Okay, and gives the baby a conducive environment to strive until it's due for delivery. So as you said, once the sac is gone, the baby is not safe. Okay, good, thank you. That means I still remember a little bit of my science. That's nice to know. Okay, so Swal, you didn't completely take over from that. Right, yeah. So I was trying to find out from these singles why does abortion come into mind in the first place. And they started pouring out, and some of them were pouring out how the abortion happened, you know, what led to the abortion, how they even did it. Okay. It says, I'm the indoor type, and my parents, in fact, my entire family trust me. Sometimes they use me as an example to advise my cousins and siblings. So in this case, if I get pregnant, as in now, the only thing I would think about is abortion. Okay, of course, she's not going to think about abortion because she's now heard so many things. She does not even have the gut to do it anymore. But she's just trying to say how sometimes when your family trusts you, you don't want to let your family down. So because of that, the option of abortion comes to mind. It's a genuine reason that people have. Somebody also said stigma is also one. The fear of being singled out to become a topic of discussion. Okay, that is also why people decide to abort. And we will come very soon to the doctrine, the church doctrine, which actually makes people to do this, and I'll shed more light on it. He said, when I was in college, should in case you get pregnant, you will have to defer your course for a year. So many people saw abortion as an option, not to waste 1 year before graduating. Some people too, their parents hold them in high esteem. So the abortion is the abortion is to save their parents' face, not theirs. Okay. Some parents too opt for it for their children when they get pregnant to save themselves. So some parents will say, well, I'm not ready to go through this shame, this embarrassment. So because of that, let me take you to the doctor. Or they will take you to a friend, somebody who knows how to do it, especially in Africa. Okay, because it's very important that I make this clear. Most of the people on the group are from Africa. Okay, these are Ghanaians and Nigerians. And I know that in UK, or some of the Western countries where abortion is legalized or is legal, they can just walk into the hospital and have it done for them. Some of them don't. They don't have to go through those dangerous means that is out there, especially in Africa. So just to make it clear, right. And he said, a deacon's single daughter can't fall pregnant after he lambasted another for getting pregnant out of wedlock. So this is where the church thing comes in, because there are some churches whereby when you get pregnant, they will bring you to the front of the church and tell the whole church that you are pregnant. Some will embarrass you. Some, if you have a position in the church, they would strip you of that position, and then literally they'll ask you to go and sit at the back. In Africa especially, they will give you a special seat. They'll say you fornicated. They'll put you at the back, and then everybody knows that this person is like an outcast. So because of that, many singles would rather abort than to go through that embarrassment. So for instance, if you are a deacon or you are a pastor and you put somebody's daughter through that shame, you don't want your child to go through the same thing after you have already lambasted somebody's child. So you say, okay, let's abort. And it's happening, it's real. Okay, so we'll come back and I'll share more light about, is it right that if you have a leadership position, you should continue to serve after you've messed up? Okay, I'm going to come clean on this because we have to face the truth as well. There are certain things we need to know. When you get pregnant out of wedlock, you must expect some treatment, okay, from your parents, from your church, from the society. You have to expect some reaction because, first of all, people are going to be disappointed in you. So you don't expect that they will come and be smiling at you. You need to understand that before anything else so that you don't also get too disappointed. Yeah, so I'll come to that. I just want us to read this first and then we'll go down to that. Okay, so this is from someone whose parents said they almost aborted them. He said, it affects your mood hearing that you were almost aborted. What you could have missed, you start thinking about what you could have missed if you were aborted, bearing in mind what you have achieved so far. You also start thinking about what society could have missed from you, bearing in mind the impact you have made so far. What your parents could have missed from you, bearing in mind the impact you have made in their lives so far. Okay, and the large family. And he said that The word of advice to parents is never to consider an abortion as an option, no matter the situation. And this is somebody who was almost aborted. And I don't want to mention names, but some of these people were key. They are key people in SWAL. I'm thinking, oh my God, the devil almost took our key people away. But, he's always a liar. Okay. So I was very happy and nervous at the same time when I first found out that I had a tiny baby growing inside of me. But when I told the would-be father, he told me not to bother him as he needed money for his rent then. So this is somebody who had aborted, yeah? He said that was when I found out that the person he introduced to me as his elder brother was just a mere friend he was squatting with. Plus, he said, and I quote, even pregnancies above 3 months old are aborted. How much more just a month-old pregnancy? So if I've got money, I should loan him some, or better still, I could steal money, jewelry, clothes, or anything valuable so that we could sell it in his quest to rent a house. And that's a lot of girls do that anyway. There are some people when you mingle with, you get yourself into trouble. But what I didn't and still don't understand was the fact that we met around 10 p.m. Then I took a post PO around 8 a.m. the next day, but I still got pregnant. I was saying to the Swalians on the WhatsApp group that every day for the thief, one day for the master. This has just confirmed. Some of us, we feel like we've got everything together. Some people are even on contraceptives and, have different techniques on how to do and not get pregnant. But, one day it will catch up with you. It will catch up with you. And I said again that the Bible says that the mercies of God, they are new every morning. Every morning, the mercies are new. They are renewed. Yeah, that is my understanding. So the mercy that kept you today from getting pregnant, or from contracting that sexually transmitted disease, or from dying from that abortion, that mercy may not be the same tomorrow. Okay, so maybe you may have gotten away with one thing yesterday or every day. It doesn't mean that you are going to get away with it tomorrow, because that mercy may be different. And so you could be caught out and put yourself in a bigger mess. Yeah? There are people who steal and steal and steal and steal. They are never caught. One day they go and steal, and it's a big thing. They get caught, or they are even shot and they die. So if God has been merciful to you up to this time, and you keep saying, God, forgive me, and he forgives you, he's just waiting for you to repent. If you don't repent, and you think, oh, let me just go and do another one, just one more time, that is a day that you'll be caught up and put yourself in a mess. Okay, so just to make that clear, I then concluded that he's not going to take responsibility for the pregnancy, and my family will kill me if he didn't take up responsibility for his actions. So I went to see my friends who is a chemist, and begged him to help me out. So he gave me some drugs, coached me on how to avoid being caught. And for the will-be father, I never bothered to contact him again. Neither did he make any attempt to reach me. But there were a couple of times he came to the house to inquire of my whereabouts after a year. But on each occasion, he met my absence. Till 2 years later, when he appeared in my inbox via Facebook, wanting to come back into my life. Well, I believe that you already know that he can't come back into your life. Okay, because if you had died, would he come back and dig your grave and remove you and start dating you again? So you've got to be wise, yeah? Wise, once beaten, 10,000 shies. That's how I say it, especially in this area. When somebody mess you up like this and they leave you and they don't even look back to see what's going on with you, later for them to come back when you've put yourself together, don't go back, because they will mess you up again, yeah? And then somebody asked, so what happened to the baby? She said I eventually flushed it down the toilet. Okay, so please keep that in your mind. Flushed it down the toilet. Can you think about seeing a human being coming out of you, or seeing whatever come out of you, and then you flushed it? Think about the mental image that it will create. I'm going to come back to that. Okay. And then she said, the same person, she said, the second one, I don't want to think about it. So that means it wasn't first, second. And then I can see the head coordinator trying to advise and counsel. He did a very good work. It got to a point I couldn't talk much about it. I was just reading and I was screaming. My husband got home. He didn't even remove his outfit. I started talking. I said, King, can you believe this? I started saying so many things, and he was looking at me. I said, oh God, I feel like, when a mother, your children come to you and they start telling you things that you never expected or even thought they could do. The shock. I was talking. He went to the bathroom to have his shower. I followed him. I was still talking. I said, can you imagine? I can't believe, So this is like a big thing to me. It's a big thing. And then the head coordinator said, it is well. And then the lady went back. He said, it's been almost 4 years down the line and I still regret it. 4 years down the line. This broadcast is probably going to take a bit longer because I can't see myself coming back to it. It's too emotional for me, so I need to finish it. Yeah. Please share it on your timeline with your friends so that we can impact as many people as possible. I'm not going to come back to this topic. I don't have the strength for it at the moment. And then she said the second one, I don't want to even think about it. Then the head coordinator said, it is well. We thank God and ask for his forgiveness. That is head coordinator. Then the lady said, that was after I finally surrendered my life to Christ somewhere last month. I really want to be Christ-like. The soul is willing, but the flesh is weak. And then head coordinator said, okay, the devil will always make you remember your past and make you feel like you don't have a place in God's house. But you have to be strong, having accepted your sins and repented. The lady said, that's how I initially felt. And I didn't want to go to church again. I became rebellious because I hated my own self. Please take note of the words. I hated my own self. I still regret after 4 years. So when someone tried coming close, I just get annoyed irrespective of the personality. I became more than problematic then. And then head coordinator said, yes, you have to let go of your past and move on strongly in Christ. And then we have another person here who has helped someone to abort. She said, good evening, fam. How to prepare to face the world. So literally that's one of the reasons why, because sometimes you don't know how to face the world. How to stand strong and listen to the naughty words people will throw at you, especially the parent. How to face your fears of becoming a mother. So these are the reasons why people abort. Then she said the how, when, what, if should also be the first thought. And it's also the first thought that people have. And then somebody else touched on her number one reason for not aborting was to do with the way she will feel about church. So he said, this was my number one reason for not aborting. It's difficult for me to forgive myself. And also it takes a lot of time and effort to go back to God when I backslide. So I know abortion would have turned me into something else. Okay, she knew herself. She knew she couldn't do it because it would have made her to run away from church and run away from God. So she decided to be strong and have her baby. This is another person. My pastor once said, if you know what every pastor or prophet have done in the past before coming to church, you would always run and be the first in church. My dear, that's what the devil uses against us. Our guilt and past mistakes. The Bible makes us aware that we become new creation when we are born again. All things are past. That's why he came to die for us. This is the main reason why you need him more. Just surrender all to him and live for him, and he will give you peace. So she's literally saying that no matter how you feel about abortion and the fact that you want to run away from God and you become rebellious and you don't want to do anything with your Christianity because you are embarrassed and ashamed, he said you have to surrender it rather to God. Remember that the devil is only trying to use your past mistakes and the guilt to cause you and to limit you. So surrender to God, live for him, and you will have peace. Okay. So this is a very good advice, and I felt like I'm happy that they are all on the group because they are encouraging themselves, each other, and I didn't even have to say much. A second lady now said, I don't even know how to begin my own story. And one of the guys says, my sister, talking therapy is good. And then he said, this has been a great burden of guilt for me, but I will try. This happened 9 years ago. I was still a virgin at 20, and I had some couple of friends who talked me into getting into a relationship with one of the guys. After a few months in the relationship, he started talking about sex, which I told him I was still a virgin. He one day asked me to escort him to his house after work to pick up something. Little did I know he had other intentions. Upon getting there, he locked me up and said whether I like it or not, he will have me. I struggled with him, but got tired along the way. He literally raped me. I bled a lot and he began to apologize that he thought I was deceiving him. Sometimes some of these guys, when they hear that you're a virgin, they think you are lying. And even if she's not lying or she's lying, are you meant to have sex with her? Okay, and some people they are raping girls anyhow. And unfortunately, in Africa, it's difficult to get these people to be prosecuted. But it is so wrong to force anybody into sex. Okay, so guys, please stop that. And I know some women also rape guys, so it's not just for guys, but women too. We need to be careful. And if you listen to this story very carefully, you realize that her friends, okay, so the type of friends you move with are very, very important. They determine what can happen to you. Well, I went back home feeling all sorry for myself. About 2 months later, I began to notice changes on me. He saw me and said, do I know I was pregnant? I was so shocked and decided to go for a pregnancy test. Boom, it was positive. I decided to tell my mom. She was so angry and told the guy she doesn't like him as a son-in-law. So this is also another mother. Family support was not here. Okay, well, I was caught in the middle. Few days later, I fell ill and he was asked to go and get me some medication. He got me some pills. Little did I know those were abortion pills. When I heard this story, I was so upset. I literally responded and I said, I wish I could destroy this guy. Seriously. He said they weren't in any label. I took them and about 2 to 3 hours later, I began to feel worse. I was in so much pain only for him to text me saying, I am sorry I had to do this to you. Can you imagine? I didn't understand until I began to bleed. About 5 hours later, I felt to push only for me to see the baby falling down, and it was a boy. Another image like this. Can you imagine seeing this? I was shocked and pulled the cord out. I woke up at Rage Hospital. That was one of the hospitals in Accra, I believe. Or is it Kumasi? From that day, I hated him till today. Even though I didn't continue the relationship, anytime I see him, there's this anger till today. I could have died. This is so horrific. So horrific. So these are some of the things that people go through. If you are watching, especially from Africa, a young person, and you are thinking of abortion, I mean, I don't know how you can still go ahead and do after you've heard this. Yeah. So head coordinator said, did you lose the baby? Hedi, sorry, everybody knows who you are now. She said, yes, I did. And then another lady asked, why was he the one to get you the drugs when you were not well? Was your mom in support of the abortion in any way? And then she said, she indirectly said it by saying she didn't want him as a son-in-law. So Hedi, I really like this counseling that you gave them, honestly. He said, sorry about that, but you can't keep on holding to the head. It's not good for your health. For all you know, he doesn't regret it and is at peace compared to you who sees him and your heart beats so fast. It's not easy, but you have to let go. That's nice. The lady that questioned earlier on said, so what did she do? Talking about the girl's mother. What did she do when she got to know that the guy has aborted the baby for you? She said she met me in the house, collapsed. So she took me to the hospital. And then said, the funny thing is, I am her only daughter. And then the lady said, see that too. Hedi said, you have to forgive him. It doesn't mean you should accept him back. We thank God you made it out alive. Then the other lady said she would have gotten a grandchild playing around to entertain her. Talking about the lady's mom. And then the lady that has been affected, she said, yes, I understand. I have forgiven him, but sins keeps coming back. So the sin of seeing the baby falling out and all of that, it keeps, coming back to her mind. So the other lady was questioning. Though we at times sin to bring babies into this world, they have a purpose to play in this world. Because the mode through which they come doesn't change the fact that children are blessing from God. Said our parents must know this and support us rather than making us feel worse. So parents, if you are listening, please, you need to support your children. And it doesn't matter what, it has already happened. It has already happened. And there is nothing much you can do than to support them. I was listening to Bishop T.D. Jakes. There was an interview about him and her daughter, Sarah Jakes, who became pregnant at the age of 13, 14. And, the embarrassment, you can imagine Bishop T.D. Jakes' daughter. But the support that they gave to the child is what made everything possible for the child to be the way she is now. And, I've posted the link on the page, and he was saying how he didn't mind losing the church for her daughter. He didn't mind. And that is a support, that we need to give to our children. No matter the fame, we have to, give our children the support. People are telling me it's almost 1 hour. Oh, more time, sweet lady. You want to hear your ears sweet you. Okay, please share the broadcast. Share the broadcast if you want me to continue. Because if I leave this, it take grace to come back. Okay, so somebody said, so sad, but you need to forgive yourself and forgive him. Because God has done that for you. The only way you can have that inner peace and live freely is to forgive him. Just try doing that and see how peaceful you are going to be. In the past, there's one thing I believe in life, is that God knows why everything happens to us. The Bible says he knows us even when we're still clot of blood. So whether good or bad, he knows about it. Just try and forgive yourself, my dear, and let the past be. God knows the best. Please try and forgive him. And then this lady said, same lady that we were discussing her issue, she said, I have fallen victim for so many times that now it feels like there's nothing really like love and marriage. My baby daddy treated me badly and wanted me to abort my son, but I stood my ground and today, anytime I look at him, I'm glad I took that decision. So her first baby she aborted, but the second baby she decided not to abort, and she did something very funny. We'll come back to that, how she decided to keep that child. The lady that was questioning before, she said, thank God you decided to keep this one. I hope your mom supported you this time. He said, not really, but she had no choice because I didn't eat anything from her, nor the guy, till 6 months. I was afraid they would do something wrong to me. So because her first pregnancy, the guy went to buy the tablet, the medicine, and bought the wrong one, gave her the abortion medicine without her knowing. When this one happened, she decided that she wasn't going to take anything from them. She wasn't going to eat. I don't know whether it's the same guy though, but she did not eat from her parents' house and from the guy for 6 months because she didn't want anybody to terminate the child. Yeah, so she decided to do that. I think that was very interesting. And then this same lady is now saying that she's just found out that her mother wanted to abort her as well when she was, So it's another thing that we'll come back to. All my past relationships has made me bitter towards men. I'm just 29 years, but in terms of relationship failures and 8 lessons, I have learned a lot. I've been into 3 relationships, but my last experience was very, very bitter and sad story. So I said to myself, it is better to be alone. Sometimes when you see singles and they don't want to have anything to do with males, you don't understand some experiences some people have had. They don't want to marry. So, there was a lady that she was looking for a job, and at church, we were told, if you have a need, come forward. And then she went forward, and the pastor was praying and started praying for marriage for her because the pastor assumed that because she's of age, she's finished university, marriage is the next thing. So started praying for marriage, and she was so upset. She told me, she said, Peace, I'm so upset. What made him think that I want marriage? I only went there because I want a job. I'm desperately looking for a job, and he's praying for marriage for me. So it's not everybody that wants to be married. Maybe at least not at the time they are. Maybe they're looking to do something else, or because of experience, they don't want to get married now. They are not ready. So we need to understand that. Okay, let me share this one. This is somebody who helped a friend to abort. She said she got pregnant for her boyfriend, but he denied it, so she decided to abort it. That time, I had no choice but to assist her. So she brought the drugs, swallowed and inserted them, and later that evening, she bled and went through so much pain for over 2 months. Pain for over 2 months and bleeding. And then she said, this has been haunting me for years, because at times I feel I might not have my own babies because I helped kill a baby. So I even tried getting pregnant for my ex many times, but it didn't work because on the other hand, I wasn't ready to be a mother too. But I felt if I should get pregnant, I can have a child. Even till now, I am scared. So you see what this thing can do. Now, somebody who is not even married is trying to force herself to get pregnant because of the guilt. She's afraid. She's thinking, oh, maybe I should get pregnant now because I may not get pregnant because of what I did. Guilt. This thing is serious. Oh. It's very serious. And then I said there is a spirit behind this thing. Definitely. Definitely. And then a lady responded, she said, yes, I think so, because once one does it, one gets addicted to it. Like I said earlier on, I helped a friend to do it, and not too long, she got pregnant again. And that one, the guy himself helped her to do it. So if you were not able to get any good guy to support you to keep it, you will just be doing it till... So that means abortion is such that when you do it once, there is a tendency for you to keep doing it. So by the time you realize you've aborted like 10 babies, okay, because it's an addiction. And I believe that even addiction, there's a spirit behind it. So this abortion thing is not just something that we take lightly. Yeah, no matter your beliefs, or I totally believe there's a spirit behind this. So this is a guy speaking. So that once was with a lady. Along the line, she got pregnant, which she was asking me to give her money so that she will get rid of it. I also made it clear to her that she will deliver. By then, she completed SHS. Her reason was she has to continue her education and the tertiary level to the tertiary level. And I responded that she is still young, and so after 2 years, she can continue with her education. But she was not in agreement. I was not ready to support any abortion, so I never gave her the money for it. With the perception most people have towards we, the Voltarians, I had to scare her that when she tried anything silly, she would die. Funny though, she did all she could for me to have a chance of a change of mind, but I was firm on my decision. She one day told me, since I'm not ready to assist her get rid of the pregnancy, what she will do is she will find a guy, have sex with have sex with him, and tell him I'm pregnant for him, so that he will give me the money to go and abort. And so many people are being trapped that way. Ladies are trapping you. They get pregnant for somebody. They don't get any help from that person. They come to you. They sleep with you. You've got to be careful. This sex thing going on in the lives of singles. We've got to be very careful. Anyway, so the bottom line of the whole thing is she eventually got rid of that pregnancy. But this guy was firm and decided, I'm not going to be a part of this. So if you want to take the baby out, it's on your head, literally. He didn't give the support. And I believe this is what every guy should be doing. Okay, because there are some of the ladies, the men are the ones forcing them to abort. And then some of the ladies too are the ones forcing the men to abort. Okay, so I tried to find out what are some of the effects that it has on them. Somebody said the first effect I have realized about the whole abortion is it's psychological torment, the regret, and it's very addictive to those who do it. Then somebody said barrenness, death, miscarriage, mental or emotional trauma. The aborted child can haunt you for life. And then another person, I have an auntie who was once pregnant and she aborted the pregnancy because she's in the tertiary education and afraid of my grandfather. So she has to abort it. Now that she has gotten married, she cannot even get one child for her husband. So literally it has affected her womb. Okay, another person, the emotional trauma involved is no joke. I live in fear of not being able to give birth. So literally every day she lives in fear. He said psychologically one will live with it for a period of time. Anytime you hear anyone talk about abortion, you will remember. If the person is not lucky, she might not be able to conceive again. I have heard someone had abortions in SHS, yet had babies when she got married. So that case is not always the same. There are some people who have had a lot of abortions, but they still have children. But there are some too who have even had just one abortion and it affected their womb. So every case is different, yeah? Because your story is not somebody's story. Your grace, the grace on your life, it's not the same grace on somebody's life. There are things that people will do and do and do and do, and they will be fine. You alone, you go and do, and then you die. Or you put yourself in a big mess. So stop following your friends, okay? Stop following them because you don't know what is after them. You don't know what they are doing. Some of us, we are so innocent. Maybe your friend has a way they do to make sure that these things don't happen to them. But you don't know. So just one touch, one attempt, then you are messed up. He said, on the society, we lose people who should have grown to be useful in the society. I learned that people who were almost aborted mostly become prominent people. And it is true. I don't know if you've heard about Archbishop Duncan Williams. He shared a story that I heard. He said that his mother almost aborted her. In fact, they did abortion. They did a procedure, and she left thinking that baby gone, not knowing that there were twins in the womb. So it was his twin brother or twin sister, I think twin brother, who was removed. They didn't find him. He was hidden. God has hidden him in the womb somewhere. So the doctor didn't see that they were twins. He removed one. Then a few months later, stomach started growing. Went back, baby is inside. That was how he escaped abortion. God just preserved him. And today, look, most of the big churches in Ghana, he's got a massive impact. Most of them originated because of his ministry. Okay? And that's what I am seeing in the whole of this abortion thing, that the devil is just, he's seeing the destinies of these children. He's seeing the great destinies that these children have. And from day one, he wants to get rid of them. He wants to destroy these destinies even before they are born. So don't allow yourself to be used to terminate a great future, because you don't know who you are carrying. Can you imagine Archbishop Duncan Williams being terminated? His ministry being terminated from day one. Can you imagine what the effect? So you don't know what you are carrying. Please, you may be carrying the next president. You may be carrying the most wealthiest man on earth, wealthiest woman, most influential woman on earth. You never know. So please don't abort. Yeah. Once you do, okay, so he's talking about abortion again, that once you do it first time, it automatically becomes part of you, and it will be the last thing you always resort to abortion. And then the second thing I have realized is the way some churches treat people who get pregnant out of wedlock. It's one of the major side effects. So this lady is saying, for instance, when I was pregnant with my son, my youth pastor said I should stand up in one of our youth meetings. His words were, "You are a disgrace and you have disgraced me as your pastor." In fact, I was so much ashamed and sad, so I asked him 2 questions. The first one, and I really love this. He said, Akos was pregnant and died through abortion. And Akos has given birth and she's naming the child. Which of these 2 was more disgraceful? So that's the question that she asked the pastor. Would you rather be happy that I did abortion and I died? Or would you rather be happy that I decided to keep the child and I'm celebrating or naming the child? Which of these 2 is more disgraceful? Is it the death, the abortion and dying, or the keeping the baby? Which one? And that is the question that most of our leaders have to start considering. What do you prefer? Do you prefer that, our youth, the youth in your church, will rather hide behind a corner somewhere, have sex, and, sleep with themselves, and then abort the children and come to the church and stand on the stage and start singing as if nothing bad has happened? Would you prefer that? Or you would prefer that they actually own up, become bold enough to come to you and advise and say to you that, I'm sorry, I did this and I'm pregnant? Which one would you prefer? The church, unfortunately, now has come to the stage whereby most churches, we no longer want the truth. We want lies. Yeah. It's the same thing with some parents. We want lies. So our children will rather come and lie to us than to say the truth, because when they say the truth, they are in trouble. When the child comes to the church and say, I'm pregnant, she's automatically in trouble. They put the child in front of the church. No support, disgrace. And many people will now leave the church because they can't stand the embarrassment. Everybody is pointing a finger at them. But if you had handled it carefully and supported them, these things won't happen. Yeah? So please, our churches, we need to really rise up to this. Parents, we need to rise up to this. And then she said, till today, that's the pastor, couldn't answer me. One girl stood up and said, so right in that meeting, when this was happening between her and the pastor, one girl stood up and said, because of all this, that is why when I get pregnant, I abort it. So I look innocent in the eyes of everyone, but I'm always tormented. That's what somebody said. This is what you do. That is why I'd rather abort my children. And I come and stand in the church and start singing and dancing, and you think I'm innocent. Meanwhile, I'm suffering. So pastors, we are begging you, our church, please, that policy, I know there is a purpose for that policy, because as I always say, I even said it on the WhatsApp group. I said, when you put yourself in a mess, you've got to expect some discipline. Yeah? Especially if you are the head coordinator of SWAL, God forbid, and you impregnate somebody in SWAL. You think I'm going to allow you to serve? You will step down. Okay? I'll let you step down because, first of all, you have not upheld the vision. You are meant to be holding the vision. You are meant to be helping our singles to bring the best out of them. If you are rather going to destroy them or ridicule the vision, then we're going to ask you to step down. We'll suspend you and help you to get yourself together. Maybe you have issue with sexual immorality. You need support on how to get out of it. We will support you, but you will be asked to step down for a while. And this is why some of the churches do this, because they need to use your situation as an example to other people, not to repeat the same thing. Okay, because if you're a youth leader or a youth pastor and you go and impregnate one of the youth, you want us to give you the microphone the next Sunday to come and stand in the front of the youth and be talking to them. What are you going to teach them? If you are sleeping with them, what are you teaching them? So as a bishop, they will ask you, step down for a while they take you through some training. But unfortunately, sometimes we ask the people to step down. We are not able to help them. Okay, we don't give them any guidelines. We don't give them any support. Nobody comes around them to embrace and say, you know what, we are still here for you. We will help you through this process. They leave them on their own. And the people walk in the church and everybody's pointing, accusing fingers at them. People are gossiping about them. They can't help it and they leave. They leave. But because the problem is still there, they haven't solved that challenge, that weakness they have, they go to another church, they mess up there again. Okay, so my advice is you need to understand that when you mess up as a leader, you are going to be penalized. As a young person in your church, if you mess up, they can't come and be praising you that, you've got a child or you are pregnant. So you want your parent to come and be hailing, hey, oh, well done. No, every parent want their child to be pregnant in marriage. They want, one of the deepest desire of parents is to see their children walk down the aisle with no issues. Yeah. So when you are not able to meet their expectation, they get disappointed. Some of them, Africans, they will slap you. Okay. They will insult you and they will do all sorts of things to you. You have to expect it. Don't expect that they will come and be smiling. No. Even those who support their children, they would have said all kinds of things before they start supporting them. But my point is, no matter what you say to the child, if you want to penalize the child, if you want to penalize the person, you want to take away their position, make sure that there is still that support system whereby you are helping the person. We had a similar situation in SWAL some time ago, and I had to suspend the person. Before we could even support the person left the group. I can't come and chase you where you are to support you. Okay. So in this case, if that situation is a weakness in the person's life and they've not sat down to help themselves to get out of that situation, they'll go to a different place, they repeat the same thing. Okay. So when you are punished for the wrong you've done, You've got to accept the punishment. Serve it. Serve it. Okay? Serve it. Put your head down. Serve it. And after, when you finish serving it, and if you're still not feeling comfortable in the church, you can move on. You can move on, but make sure you work on yourself, because it could be a weakness that you have. And if you don't deal with it, it may surface at another place. Okay, so this is why the church do that. They've got good intentions by just having that support system, whereby, and I know some churches may have those support system there to help. I hope it is clear. So don't go and don't get too angry that your church has punished you. They've got good reasons. It said, you remain haunted for the rest of your life if you didn't get the appropriate help from the right people. The possibilities of not getting pregnant when you married, especially if the abortion was an unsafe one, it can lead to permanent womb damage, which can also lead to death. Okay, so there was a girl, another lady was saying how, this same pastor that put her in front of the church to disgrace her, was in front of the youth, was actually dating two members of the youth. And she was aware of it, but she decided not to expose him. Okay, so it is very easy for us to point accusing fingers at people because their sin has come out. But most of us, what we are doing secretly, if it should come out, everybody will start walking with their head. Because like, hey, I've never heard this before. So when somebody's sin come out, let's be very careful how we handle it, because it could be you. It could be you. It could be me. When people come to me in Swal, some of the things I've heard, even this week, some of the things people, sometimes I'm just, when people say, hello, miss, because I gave the coordinators and all the team leaders assignments, I hope they've done it, to send messages to all their team members to ask them if they are pregnant, blah, 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 speak to me. Okay, so I had people contacting me, and immediately I see a message coming up. I said, oh my God, no, not this one. No, not this person. And they start talking. I said, oh God, and yeah, but I don't make it look like unheard of, because there's nothing unheard of. And whether you like it or not, they've done it already. You can't change it. Okay? Your child, they've impregnated a person. They've done it already. She's pregnant. She's pregnant. What can you do? Are you going to remove the pregnancy? Or are you going to undo it? You can't undo it. You just have to accept it, that it has happened, and support them. Support them. I don't remember the last time anybody came to me in Swal and said, I did this, I did that, and I started criticizing. Never. I've never done it. When you tell me, I'll say, thank you for letting me know. Thank you for trusting me to share this with me. Then I'll start asking you questions. How did it happen? I won't judge you, because it could be me. It could have been anyone. And besides, who am I? It's happened already. There's nothing I can do. I just have to support you and make sure that the best comes out of it. And I think that is the heart that our parent has to have. There is a lady that last year, when we went to 2017 event, she came to the event, and there was a prophecy for her. She came to just the evening. She didn't come to the second day. There was a prophecy for her, and because she couldn't come, the speaker wanted to pray with her. So I said to the speaker to tell me what it is, and I'll tell her later. But even before the speaker told me what it was, she herself called me. She said, I want to share something with you, because on the WhatsApp group, she calls me her mom. So when I came to Ghana, she said it was difficult for her to come to the event because she has just gone back to school. And she thought, you know what, I'm just coming to the evening to come and say hello. So she came just because of that. So when I was still in Ghana, she called me. She said, I'm pregnant, and the guy doesn't want me to abort the pregnancy, but I can't take the shame. I want to abort. And the reason is because her mother is a pastor, and she's close with her mother. And she shares, literally, her mother tells her so many things. So for her to think that she has disappointed her mom, she doesn't know how she's going to tell her mom. So she said, I want to abort the pregnancy. The guy loves me. He wants me to keep it, but I can't. So she was literally calling me to hear my side of the thing. And I said, you can't abort the pregnancy. If you want me to speak to the guy, I'll speak to the guy. If you want me to speak to your mom, I'll speak to your mom. But you can't. I'm happy that the guy wants to take responsibility. Let's give him the chance. It was hard. It was hard. I had to guide her. I said, you know what? Speak to your mom after a Sunday service. Because at that time, she would have just finished preaching, coming back home with in high spirit. And then you tell her. It was difficult, but she did. And what the parent decided to do is to speak to the guy. The guy said, I'm ready. I want to marry her, if you allow me. She married. None of you knew about it as well. She's giving me permission to share it. None of you knew. We celebrated on the group. Everybody was happy. Yeah, I only knew what happened. Nobody knows. Yeah. And the mother was disappointed, but she had to support. No matter what, you can't throw the child away because of your reputation. There's another lady that was telling me her mother has to take her to a different city to live with her pastor so that, to protect the embarrassment, to shield her from all that would have happened in the city that she was. Some mothers go to the extent of doing so much to protect their children. But some too, unfortunately, they start screaming at you and they even push you to go and have the abortion. Some will even take you to the doctor themselves. Okay, so parents, please. Your child needs you when things are more difficult, when the world has given up on them. That is when they need you more. He said, when I took up the teaching of the adult in church, like an adult teaching class, I always ask myself that, would they listen to what I teach? Because they will say after getting pregnant, she's here to tell us what to do. This is the torment I went through, but I'm okay now. So when you've had that experience, it's difficult to speak to other people about it because you are thinking they will start judging you. Who are you? You, after you did, who are you to now come and tell me that I shouldn't? Okay, so real things here. So this girl is still on her pastor. He said now he left both of them, not married yet to do. Funny enough, we both work out at the same gym. I look at him and I laugh. Because of what he did to me, the youth isolated themselves from me when I gave birth. What the church was to do for me wasn't done. Nobody touched my son except the main pastor and the sister on my son's naming. So after a few weeks, I left the church. You see, we are losing people because of these doctrines. People will say, because you gave birth out of wedlock, we are not naming the child. The child is innocent. Well, I'm yet to understand the reasons behind it, but for me, I feel like the child is innocent. If you are punishing the mom, that's fine. But the child is innocent. Why shouldn't you name the child? Why? See, she left the church. Lost her soul. So assuming she left the church and decided not to follow Christ again, and she died the next day, she's going to hell because of a church doctrine. The same church doctrine that should have protected the person and kept them on the right way, it's now made a person to leave the church. Yeah? So we need to start thinking, is the doctrine so more important to us now than the souls that we are supposed to preserve? Which one is more important? I hope I'm not putting myself in trouble with any pastor. Oh, you have to come to UK and let's talk. I love pastors. I love pastors. Don't worry. I love pastors. Maybe one day I'll become a pastor. I never know. You never know. My husband may become a pastor. It looks like it. So I'm not against pastors, but I'm just saying that some of the doctrines, we have to find a way to handle it so that it doesn't cause more harm than good. So we have some photos. People have now shared their children's photos on the group, and nice children, beautiful children. I'm thinking, look how these people, they could have been aborted. They could have been. If not grace. Said, I named my son Sarah, meaning my soul has blessed me. Okay. Okay, this story, I know this story because I spoke to the lady. So this is the guy, one of our guys in Swahili. He said, I have a son now out of wedlock. Though my baby mama and I had issues when she was only a month pregnant, she never thought of abortion, even though her church and family did all sorts of things. She stood her grounds not to abort the pregnancy. She holds many positions in church, which, because of the pregnancy, she has to resign from them. She made a pastor and others aware she was pregnant. At times, we need to make a very bold decision, no matter the influence from the society. This particular story, the guy got me involved because the tension was becoming too much, and I had to speak to the lady. The lady is not in Swahili. I had to speak to the lady. We chatted. I sent her a lot of voice messages. She shared her pain, and one of the pain she had was the positions in church. She was literally stripped off all her positions, but she still had to stand and have the child. Yeah, so sometimes you just have to go through it. Yeah, go through it. It's for your good. Don't compound the problem, because first of all, you having children, a child out of wedlock, or you getting pregnant before marriage, it's already considered a sin, the sexual sin. Yeah, so don't add another sin to it by killing. It's like two troubles, one God, or from frying pan to fire. Because as you hear, many of these ladies, the mental battles they're going through, it's not easy for them. Look at this baby, very beautiful. So somebody has said something here that some years ago I mentioned in one of my videos, that when you become pregnant, because of the disappointment, the expectations of your family, the expectations of the church, and all of that, there's so much stigma, there's so much embarrassment, humiliation that you go through, so much emotions. You are thinking about so many things at the same time. And you don't even see how you're going to go through it. But trust me, immediately you have the child. Once the child arrives, everything is forgotten. People forget how you became pregnant. They forget everything. They start jubilating and celebrating with you concerning the child, because people love children. Everybody loves children, babies especially. So when somebody gives birth, everybody rallies around the person and they are happy. They are so happy. So all the pain that you were feeling, it goes. So the challenge is for you to focus and say, I'm going through this, because the end result is better. The end is better than the beginning. You're going to feel so much peace, so much happy with this child. And people around you are going to now rally around and support you. Those who were even saying all sorts of things, they will not even say it anymore, because now the baby has arrived, and you will be happy. Okay, so forget about what you go through now and focus on the end result. Remember that the child you are carrying could be a great man, a great woman, and I can assure you, he or she is one. Yeah, so keep the child. I think I'm now getting too long on this thing. I need to start flying away. Okay, let me read this. This is somebody who asked the girlfriend to abort. So the negative effect. I will start with mine. Aside losing someone who could be a very important person to the society, there's also this negative effect. My girlfriend always complained of severe abdominal pains. Abdominal pains. The word is not coming out. This continued for a while. I was very disturbed, to be honest. Anytime she complains of that pain, my heart jumps from its rib cage. Seriously. I was so afraid she might die, maybe something worse of a sort. I carried this guilt for a long time, giving my girlfriend medicine to destroy a pregnancy. God, please forgive me. I have really lived on a knife edge. I have vowed to myself with this experience that no more abortions. Amen. Okay, so this person is also a guy who has helped somebody to impregnate. He's also saying no more abortion because of what he saw. He actually experienced it, went to the place where they were trying to get the child out, and what he saw, he said he doesn't even want to say. It's something that was horrible. He said, well, I have also heard of cases of a lady who died during the process. The pain is extremely bad. The one I experienced, I cannot stand it a second time. And somebody is also saying that when you finally become born again and things start going bad in your life, you begin to think that it was because of that abortion. That is why things are going bad. So it can affect you in that way as well. So you cannot talk about the problem when you see it happening to somebody because your conscience tells you that you are not qualified to talk about it. Okay, so this is somebody's advice to singles out there. He said, abortion is not a final solution. The stigma is there. So what? Who has the final say anyway? Is it your mother, your father, your pastor, or God? Those that are judging you, do you know what they are doing that has not surfaced yet? The guilt you will carry some years to come cannot be compared to the joy of keeping that child. If someone says it is going to be easy, it is a lie. But stand tall and tell yourself, I have sinned, I have repented, and I'm going to have this child. You might probably lose that scholarship, that job, or that favor. But has it crossed your mind that you could lose your life or your womb in the process? Don't do it. We need that child. Okay, so that's somebody's advice. Okay, another advice, he said they should keep their faith. Work harder, trust in God. Okay. These are the things you need to do to be able to go through the pregnancy. Somebody said, be strong, stand by your decision to make things right, though things have gone wrong. Two wrongs won't make the decision right. When the storm is over, you will see it was all a mirage. You will look back and be grateful. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate this. Okay, so somebody is talking about the way her mommy almost aborted her, but today they are like twins, she and her mom. They are like twins. They look at so much alike and they do everything together. And she's the only child. Her mother never got married again. So can you imagine if her mother had aborted her, by this time she would have been very lonely because there wouldn't have been any other child. Yeah. So you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what that child is going to do for you in future. So keep that child, please. So some people are now saying how they've cried countless times when they decided to open up to this. And she's saying that means I thought I had moved on, but the scar is still there. Indeed, speaking about it heals. Okay, and that is why I created this group, because I just wanted them to speak about it. Sometimes you may have kept it as a secret for a very long time. Nobody knows, it's only you. So when you start pouring it out, it helps you to heal. And, it also gives you an opportunity to properly confess the sin and decide to do the right thing. Okay, I think that's basically it. Okay, so I was sharing the lady's story from the event last 2 years, and I didn't even talk about the prophecy that came for her. So the prophecy that came for her was that the guest speaker, when he was on his way to the event, he kept hearing the lady's name, and he said that God showed him how he had married to a very wealthy man, and the man really loved her, but the issue in the marriage was about children. She couldn't give birth. And even though the man was doing everything for her, she was not happy. She was living a miserable life because of that. So God was just telling him to pray for the girl. So not knowing that the girl was pregnant and thinking of aborting, meaning that if she had aborted her child, her womb would have been affected. And even though she would have married this guy who really loved her, she would have lived a miserable life for the rest of her life. So that was the reason why God was putting her into the mind of the speaker. And when I later shared with him that this is what is happening to the lady, she said, peace, this whole event was organized because of this girl. Said, you organize a whole event for one person because God just wanted to save this girl from that future miserable life. And I thank God today she's had a baby, she's happy. I've just checked because I asked her permission and she said, please share it because it will help somebody out there. You know, she's so happy now, married, she's happy. And she was just, I think, 23. Parents supported her and she's fine. Okay, so I'm going to conclude. There's so many things I wrote down that I couldn't touch on. I didn't know this WhatsApp thing is going to take that long. So I'm just going to conclude quickly. I think this is like 2 hours. God forgive me. I hope somebody has been blessed though. What is the conclusion? Great destiny. So they saw this coming and an advice was given, abort. So can you imagine if they had aborted? So even now, you keep aborting, and if you realize that your child is also coming. Every law, every commandment of God has a promise attached to it. Okay, you may not know what the promise is. Maybe you've heard, thou shalt not commit sexual immorality, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what it means. Yeah, and you think, okay, let me just do it. But the Bible says that sexual sin is one of the things that destroys the body. It destroys the body. So, and there was one thing Dr. Miles Monroe said some time ago, that when God says don't have sex before marriage, it is not for God. You are not doing God a favor. You are not doing your mother a favor. God put that law there to save you from bad memory. Because as you see, the mental image creates, because we are schooling, to say that I don't want to stop schooling. So any of these things, we don't have any excuse to fall prey to these things. Some of us have been trained out very well, and at the moment, because of bad friends, left home. You need to come back home if you don't want to put yourself into trouble. Yeah. Stop. Listen to your parents, the advice they are giving you, the teachings you've been taught. Very good. Don't let your friends lead you astray. Yeah. Okay, my internet is messing. I'm going to have to end it now because the internet is messing up. So enjoy the rest of the weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful week ahead. God bless you, and I hope you've learned something. Bye.